We have a after dark parking lot where we're going to park that topic, and then later on tonight or tomorrow night after a few drinks we'll get together and finish discussing that topic. We're going to cover three things, so I'm going to go ahead and put the bug in your ear and let you start thinking about them. We're going to talk about separating the art from the artist. Can we judge creators, or can we enjoy somebody's creation if we don't like that creator? What comes to mind is, can you still listen to a Bill Cosby fatherhood stand-up routine, knowing what you know about him? We're going to talk about if the medium matters. There's more chairs over there. We've got some chairs here. Come on in.
Is Gary in here? Can we actually enjoy Elsbeg de Camp story, even though we...
That's it. That's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about, and it's not just authors. We've got authors, we've got artists, so we're going to talk about that. Then we're going to talk about finding Conan archetypes in other places. And then we are going to discuss communicating Howard to a TikTok generation. Is that sure? Okay. Thank you. So we're going to start with, my name is Janice. I came to Robert E. Howard by way of marriage. I married a Howardian, and that's how I ended up here.
I'm Steph, and my dad told me Conan stories from the time I was a baby. So I grew up with Conan.
That's it.
That's it.
I'm Libby.
You just got on mine for being short?
No, so
There we go.
when we first moved to the States, I was at a Jiffy food store, and I was looking at the newsstand, and I saw this book with this guy holding an axe and a head, and it was Savage Tales was number one, and that started it. I just started reading the books later and had friends who read it, and just fell in love with Howard from there.
My name is Aurelia, and I came to Howard through the Whole Wide World movie. And as he recited his poetry in the movie, I fell in love because I have always loved poetry, and that is how I came in and started coming to Robert E. Howard Days about 16 years ago, and have been coming back ever since because this is probably the best time ever, the whole year. And we're glad to have you all.
Yeah, we really appreciate y'all coming over for this, and we really hope you feel inclined to participate. All right, let's start with our first topic. Wait, did I hit what I was supposed to? Come on in, we got more chairs over here. I've got 4 chairs here, and then there's more in that corner. All right, what we're going to talk about first, somebody set me a timer, we're going to do it for about 15 minutes. We're going to talk about problematic artists. And it's not just, we can come up with some problematic authors. Roald Dahl. Hold on.
That's a beautiful cat, Mr. Lovecraft. What's its name?
Yep.
That's it. We've got Lewis Carroll actually had some stuff, and Marion Zimmer Bradley. Can we still appreciate that? But we can also go into, those books are still on the bookshelf. We haven't pulled those books, but they seem to have a stigma about them. We've got artists. Who was the one? Gauguin was accused of, he moved to the South Pacific and took many, many brides, the oldest of which was 14. His art still hangs in the Louvre, in the Muséum d'Orsay, in the Met.
How many love Arthur C. Clarke?
Yeah, Arthur C. Clarke. We've got quite a few, and then that's not even getting into Harvey Weinstein. Can you still watch Fight Club? His company did produce that. Can you still listen to Bill Cosby himself? and enjoy it the way you did 80s and or 90s. So let's start with, does anybody have a problematic person that they just can't do their art anymore?
Neil Gaiman.
Okay.
Neil Gaiman,
Do you, so can you not read his books? Can you not watch?
I have a pretty extensive collection of Neil Gaiman stuff before it was revealed what he was doing, the grooming and that with the young ladies. So it was tough because I really enjoyed The Sandman, and then it became a TV show that everybody enjoyed, and his popularity was probably at its highest, and then this got released big time to the public. So yeah, I really can't enjoy it anymore because I can't get that stigma of him out of my mind when I see his work now. I see it all on the shelves at bookstores. Same thing.
Did you watch the 3rd season of Good Omens?
No.
Anybody else, anybody besides me, watch the 3rd season of Good Omens?
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I watched it.
Do you feel like Neil Gaiman affected your viewing of that?
It did. I had very conflicting emotions. I mean, so much so that I'm not afraid to admit I wept openly while watching it, just because of the conflict of emotions plus the message in the series as well. I'm still trying to reconcile the things that came to light with regard to him and his art. I try so much to separate the artist from the art, because otherwise, there might not be a whole lot that we can still appreciate.
So do you think it's different if the artist has already passed on? Is it H.P. Lovecraft?
That's different because there's no chance for redemption.
Right.
Okay.
That's
But
true.
do you read Lovecraft?
Yeah.
And it's not the same feel as it is with Gaiman?
Yeah, you bring up an interesting point because I think that is so distant. I see Lovecraft as being so distant. The stories stay there, but they're constant. But it was so long ago, and the times and acceptance of certain things in those times are not accepted today.
Okay.
So our world has changed. It changes a lot more. We become more receptive to other people's feelings. Where back then there was definitely some classification of races and spotting of sexuality that went on that we can't change, that happened then. But the stories, I still see the stories the same way as I did initially. And as I get more and more into it, you learn more and more about the man and some of the things. But it doesn't seem to change the stories for me as it did with Gaiman. I don't know what that is.
So do you, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, depending on what the offense is or the controversy is, does anybody feel that there's a difference in, Lovecraft was a product of his time, and racism was very prevalent. It was how people lived. It was laws and such. And then you take Neil Gaiman on the other hand, and his offenses, and now he is still alive. This is a different time. We are in, Europe, America, and but his offenses are towards children. So
I think the difference for him that I get is Neil Gaiman is a hypocrite.
Yeah.
Because he always preached himself as an ally, and then here he was abusing women. Lovecraft never saw himself as an ally. He was just he was centered around his own little house,
right.
inspired by his aunts. That's why he was the way he was. He was sheltered by his aunts that raised him.
Right.
So he never saw himself as an ally. He was just a storyteller, and he slowly was coming out of that. He became a little bit less anti-Semitic when he married his Jewish wife. So obviously, if he had learned more about the cities and things like that, he would have moved out. But Gaiman, he was just like, oh, I'm an ally. Oh,
right.
I'm abusing these women.
Right.
So I can see the disconnect about how you accept one guy but not the other.
Mark, are you fixing to mention Tamiflu?
No.
Okay.
But I agree with that. I think the difference when you're dealing with somebody who was alive 100 plus years ago, I think it's a lot easier to excuse time and place, societal advancement, ignorance, however we want to ascribe that. It's a lot easier to forgive that than it is to. For me, it's Bill Cosby, who cultivated the image of being America's dad, and then did that, and so it's that it's the hypocrisy, it's that presenting yourself as something or somebody else in order to bring everybody's guard down, and so that to me is, I think, where the real sin is in that respect. It's very and because so much of his material centered around him being a family man and a father and a husband. I mean, his best act is literally that. Yeah.
But both of them are the hypocrisy.
It's hypocrisy.
That's mine. For Neil Gaiman was Tanith Lee. I knew nothing about Tanith Lee until someone mentioned that a lot of his stuff pulls directly from her writings. So, does anybody have?
Okay, that's okay.
Oh, okay. Yes.
I wonder if we are confusing the art with the artist. And I'm not here to criticize anybody.
This is a safe place. Go ahead.
You know, whatever the response.
Talk to you later.
Yeah, right. You know, I mean,
We don't see, we know what.
what Neil Gaiman, you know, that's just reprehensible. But by the same token, and I mean, let's go back to Bill Cosby since we're just dealing with that. I mean, is it or is it not funny, right? Is the craft of his humor, I mean, is it or is it not just side splitting? I mean, you laugh at it. Now,
Can I?
yes, we now know what he did, but does that affect the excellence of the craftsmanship?
Can I jump in and say something, because it's very timely? I had this conversation just Monday, maybe, about Bill Cosby, and it, totally out of context for this. First of all, I'll say that for me personally, I generally don't care what people do, because if I did, then I wouldn't be able to enjoy anybody. But as far as Bill Cosby, I was just talking to a friend of mine, and we throw old Bill Cosby routines back and forth all the time, and we started laughing. Says, "Well, is that even appropriate anymore?" But yeah, they're funny, right? They're funny because, you know, like you said, the craft. And Mark, to your point, okay, so I mean, we're looking at this now.
Yeah.
Okay, but you got to remember, at Lovecraft's time, I mean, we fought a war over racism and slavery just, 50 years before, he was
Right.
writing. So, I mean, he had perspective to make the right choice, but he didn't.
Sure. And those choices become more apparent as we continue, as the farther we go.
Yes.
And I think also it's when you're dealing with people who are no longer alive, it does kind of limit what you can do.
Right.
But I think you're right about that. And for me, Bill Cosby was how I learned how to tell a story and tell a joke. I'd listen to those albums when I was a kid. Now, I can't take that out of my head, and so I'm really okay with still like making jokes about Noah and stealing the wheels off of baby coaches to make go-karts and all of that stuff. But the chicken heart that ate New York City, all that stuff is part of my DNA. I can't get rid of it. But at the time when I was able to sort of decide for myself what was funny and what wasn't, it's galling to think about how much success he enjoyed portraying that person.
Right.
That's the issue. He's still funny.
Yeah.
He's still funny. But for me personally, I'd rather keep my nostalgia than try to reconcile my tastes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark, I don't know if this would help or not, but also consider the fact that his America's Dad didn't come until a long time after those albums we enjoyed.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, we got one more on this topic. Go.
I do think that old wounds eventually scar over, and you kind of have that feeling that at some point it's no longer open, and the people that were hurt by the decisions that were made by the artists who ever made these decisions, both the artists are dead and the people that they victimized are dead at some point. But with that being said, I do think it's different in the situation with like Neil Gaiman, because he's trying to present himself as something he's not. I don't think, Lovecraft ever came forward and tried to present himself as an abolitionist. And so then went on to make other decisions, right? So that's the problem, is that Neil Gaiman tried to make himself a safe space for this entire community of people that deal with these types of issues and stuff, and then he himself was part of that problem. It had been like if H.P. Lovecraft said, well, I'm part of the Underground Railroad, and then it's turning in everybody as they got there, So it's a little bit different, and I think with that in context, like we were talking in the writers' conference the other day when we were going over our stuff, that we invoke our passions in what we write. And like great writers invoke the things that they care about and that they study into the things that they love, and that's what bleeds through. Like Howard loved history, and so that shows up in everything he ever wrote. And so when people hold beliefs and opinions, they do bleed through in their text, and we see that with Lovecraft. Some of his racism does bleed through, but that wasn't really what he was trying to write about. And so because he wasn't trying to write about it, it's not really that you're separating art from artist, it's that in a lot of his stories, it's not really relevant to what he's telling. Where in the case of Neil Gaiman, the stories he's writing about are actually meant to appeal to that audience in the first place. So it's deceit, and it's not just like hypocrisy, it's actually like an attempt to create a circle of people that you can abuse, like they're drawing in victims. He's grooming his victims. And so that's the part of it, is that his art is an act of grooming, and so the art itself can't be separated from that, and that's what feels very gross about trying to continue it after the fact.
Very well put. Thank you.
That story is complete at this point. His legacy is complete. Gaiman's is not.
There's also complicity with the society involved.
Right.
All right. Well, I know we could keep going on this one for a while, but that's the end of it. All right. Our next one is going to be finding Conan in other places. There is a
Beautiful Venn diagram.
Venn
Pass
diagram.
down this.
If you would like some.
This is going to count for 12% of your grades.
Take one, pass it
For
down.
God's sake, write legibly.
And
Beer on the wall. 100 bottles of beer on the wall. So you've got 100 Venn diagrams.
all right. What we're going to talk about now is, most everybody, because I'm assuming y'all are
I'm
here
gonna do it.
because of either Conan or Howard. So having been a Howard fan, I know you've read some Conan. But, Conan is a very distinct archetype. It's an archetype you find in other places. And it's kind of characterized by these three general areas. We have, Conan had a code. He followed his own code. And, hold on, let me back up.
Ernie.
All right.
I was gonna take. Sorry.
Just see you sitting
I
there.
will. I've got another word I'm going to say too. Conan had this primal strength and knowledge about him. Atavism, to be big wordy. And because of that, he kind of followed his own code. And that would be the barbarism. And he existed kind of as a throwback to where he was. We also know that he had this idea of personal freedom, that he had a code. I do what's right for me, and I am responsible for those ramifications. And the Conan Code is actually what puts him in conflict with society a lot of times. And then that's what leads to the third characteristic, which is Conan is an outsider. He's not part of the establishment. Now, he can work on a team, but if working on that team is not in his best interest, he can blow that team up. He doesn't have a problem with that. And we've got lots of Conan images over time. A lot of them strangely dressed like him. There was early on a Black Star. It was an animated series. Galtar and the Golden Lance, Thundar the Barbarian, Mighty Mightor. This is the one. Slancha, an animated series. Did I say it right?
The Horn God.
The Horn God. Kull the Conqueror, Wolf the Barbarian, Deathstalker, the Scorpion King, He-Man, and Masters of the Universe, the Beastmaster, the Barbarians, the Sword and Sorcerer movie.
We didn't talk about He-Man.
But there's also a lot of less fur-clad examples of Conan. Now, pardon me?
Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Ah, excellent.
Well.
Someone else is reading that besides me. Now, these people that are laying about here, not all of them fall into that category. I will argue that some of them may exist in one or two of the circles. Some may exist in one. I'm going to argue for my favorite Conan example, Machete. He is a prime example. He exhibits all of the Conan things. How many of y'all have seen, I just forgot its name.
Sisu?
Sisu. Have y'all watched Sisu?
Yeah, Sisu.
I mean, could that be any more Conan? I mean, the only thing he's missing is the loincloth. I mean, yeah. So what I'd like us to do right now is you can use some of the examples of the pictures I've thrown out, or you can tell me who's somebody you think falls into the Conan category.
Jack Reacher.
Oh, yeah.
So tell me why.
Well, I've never read any of the books, but I've watched all of the series, and even the Tom Cruise movies. There's a personality and an image of Jack Reacher being slightly outside society and not really being fully accepted, but willing to work inside society to fix the problem that he sees needs to be fixed. And and then aside on the TV show, and from what I understand in the books, the physicality is much more Conan on the TV show. I mean, Alan Rickson, in my opinion, could play Conan. Yes. But yeah, and so there's and even that part in the TV show really sets him outside, because he walks down the street and there's no one on any set that looks anything like him until the last season when Alan Rickson was on there. But again, even in the Conan stories, there were guys that were bigger than Conan.
Right.
And so yeah, I think from those various perspectives, he is, and I'm pretty sure that that child actually looked at Conan as an inspiration. Probably had the thought process, what if Conan existed today? What would he be like?
Oh, there we go.
I messaged him on social
Yes.
media once to ask him,
Oh yeah.
and he didn't respond.
Aww.
That's all.
Yes, sir.
I've read almost all Reacher books, and I've seen the TV shows. Tom Cruise is not.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise just has a hero complex.
Right.
Yeah.
In all
And
of his movies.
he is the ultimate outsider.
Yeah.
He has a toothbrush, an expired passport, and that's all he has. And he walks everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
And the only reason he gets involved is when they enter his sphere. They bust him for having a piece of pie, or they bust him because he's walking down the street and looks like a vagrant or whatever. He doesn't have any extra clothes. When he wears out his clothes, he goes to the store, he buys a new set of clothes, throws them away, and walks away. And the only time he gets involved is when they encroach.
Yeah, a Goodwill store.
Yeah.
He goes to a Goodwill store.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
the cheapest he can get.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, ultimate outsider.
All right, let me.
Yeah, I got one. It's kind of an obscure one, but it gives you a different perspective, and you don't have to actually be built like Conan. And that's Robert Carlyle's character McLean in Plunkett and McLean.
Okay.
They're highwaymen, and McLean is this total rogue. He's a thief, a reaver, a slayer. But he the entire story reads like a it's a movie, but it reads like a Conan novel. There's some jewels. They got to go get the jewels. They get into trouble. He winds up with the sidekick. Sidekick gets in trouble, and McLean does the right thing at the end and saves him, just like like Conan would. He's morally ambiguous, but he does the right thing in the end.
Well, but we can argue that Conan is morally.
That's what
ambiguous.
I mean. Yeah.
Charles Vane's character in Black Sails,
Uh-huh.
which is based based on a real person from the golden age of piracy. And I wish I had the exact monologue, but yeah, there we go. Flint and Vane are talking, and Flint's talking about wanting to retire from piracy and settle down and, have a family and, maybe like 10 fields and all that. Vane just looks at him incredulous and he goes, basically tells him, why in the hell would I want to do that? Says, this is all I am, this is all I ever want to do, to plunder and steal and kill and be free and, and be beholden to no one.
So you kind of wonder if the writers of that weren't reading a little Conan in the background. Yeah.
If not, then it's a hell of a coincidence.
All right there.
Okay, so this is why I love coming here. I never would have thought of this, but it makes perfect sense to me right now. One of my favorite books that I read as a kid is Gone with the Wind. You're talking about Red Butler here.
Oh.
Red Butler. Completely outside of either society. He wasn't. He wasn't in. He was not in Southern society. He was not in Northern. He had a tendency to violence. He would, violence was the ultimate resolution. And personal freedom.
Yeah.
The only thing that destroyed him was Scarlet.
Yeah.
That's what he gave all of that up for. But I can see Red Butler as the.
Excellent.
That's an excellent.
That's perfect. That's what I wanted here. Let's find some Conan in some unusual places. Adrian, do you have something?
Yeah, I was going to toss out perhaps Rooster Cogburn now.
I got him laying over here. Yeah.
Already been mentioned? Okay.
No, he hasn't been mentioned, but it was one of them that I pulled for us to just talk about.
He has a job. He works for the man, but he's kind of loosey goosey about it.
Right.
Them pigs couldn't move the body out.
Excellent. That's it. Yes, sir.
A couple months ago, I read the original First Blood, published in 1972.
Oh yeah, Rambo's.
I was shocked by the violence in it. It really caught me off guard, and I'm wondering if that character of Rambo would fit this.
We actually talked a little bit about this yesterday. Yeah, the first Rambo would fit this.
Not part 2 or 3.
Not part 2 or 3,
right?
Exactly.
But for the original, because he was an outsider. He was just trying to do his thing. He was a lost young man, but he had this atavism, these skills,
right.
The forestry, the fighting, the knives, the survival that was lost in the 20th century. So I just wondered. I'm not sure about it, but maybe he would fit this.
Yeah, we talked about him fitting in. Yes, sir.
I don't think it's a coincidence that everyone that's been mentioned so far is an American hero. There's something that speaks to the American pathology. Personal freedoms. Just the being able to do things very well. And even maybe the non-American examples like Toshiro Mifune in pretty much every Kurosawa film is almost like a reflection of. For Kurosawa, the reflection of what he's seen in American film.
Excellent.
Well, yeah, Kikuchio is definitely a Conan type character.
Yeah.
In The Seventh Samurai, Kikuchio is absolutely.
And by that extension, Clint Eastwood in the Man with No Name trilogy.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have there's some places like that we haven't necessarily gone. We did get the pirate here. It was 19. I don't know when The Thief came out.
Parker.
Yeah.
Oh.
Anybody read any of the Parker novels? Parker is very much that Conan the Thief. It's and I'm drawing a blank on how to talk about him. Huh? Is that block?
Richard Stark. Donald Westlake writing as Richard Stark. If you've not ever read any of his professional thief Parker novels, they're sublime. Best crime, some of the best crime writing ever. And Parker is carved out of granite. He keeps his own moral code. He's very professional, by the business. He's loyal to the team, and if you mess up with the team, he will hunt you down and take you out. It's not a 1-to-1, but that sort of I live outside of this, and I'm the guy in the room that you don't want to cross. That aspect of Conan shows up in those.
Have any of y'all watched Wayne?
Thank you. Thank you for bringing that one.
Yes. Anybody? Nobody's seen the.
You told me about it.
Oh,
Wayne is
Yeah.
pure Conan.
Wayne is Conan. I mean, Conan is his spirit animal, literally.
He even shows up.
Yeah, he does. Or you get Conan in an episode of Wayne.
Yeah, that's right.
If you haven't watched Wayne, go find Wayne. Tell me somebody who might be or I'm sorry, you had your hand up. Go.
I was thinking, in One Piece, basically, Luffy, the main character of the series, he always talks about personal freedom, and he always sees himself as an outsider. In every society, in every art they do, they go to a new island, he's always an outsider.
Okay.
And he's always pushing personal freedom about, he wants to be king of the pirates, that's his whole thing. But he wants everybody else to be free to do their own choices. And I don't know if the atavism works for him, but because his powers, that fruit that he ate, that's why he has the robo powers. But he instinctively knows how to fight.
Well, I think that
So
would be part of
the
it. It's a primal knowledge or a primal strength that is kind of outside of society, outside of what we think everybody has. Does anybody have anything else?
So you got me thinking. Long before I read Jack Reacher, I read the Repairman Jack novels of Paul Wilson. The problem with him is that he is pushed outside constantly by the demands that are made on him. But oh my God, he wants to be an insider. He wants to just be a normal guy, it's kind of like the Eternal Champion series of Moorcock.
Right.
He just wants to be a normal guy, but his circumstances and the demands that are made on him won't let him be. So that's how he doesn't fit. It's like Elric. Elric doesn't fit this.
Okay. Yeah. See that? Let me get. You had your hand up again.
Yeah, it's a stretch, but well, what's the opinion of Captain Ahab? He does not fit in. He is not a Nantucket Protestant. He's not even really a whaling captain like the rest of the whaling captains in that book. He wants what he wants, and he has a certain.
He was driven by revenge.
Yeah, he was driven. Is that point in favor or against? Yes.
Whichever way you want to take it.
I almost think of him.
When he was out, all he was going to do was kill that white whale.
I think he's more of a Solomon Kane type
Right.
of character than a Conan character.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can see Ishmael maybe being a
We're doing 20 on this one, so we got time.
Yeah, I'll go Bill.
And then we'll do 20 over here.
Right.
Huh? Then say him. Anybody see Pitch Black? So, do we think Riddick?
Yeah. Oh, Vin Diesel has himself said that, this is, he wanted to be Conan in a movie and no one offered it to him. He's like, oh, then fine, I'll make my own Conan. It's basically what he did with Riddick.
Outstanding.
In fact, in the film, at the end, he's sitting on a throne.
Yes.
And he leans with his head in his hand. And I was watching with a friend of mine. My friend of mine just said in the theater, he goes, Conan the King.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Outstanding.
All on purpose.
The Richard Sharp books by Cornwell.
Richard.
Bernard Cornwell. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Patrick Smith. Or what? No.
Bernard Cornwell.
Thank you.
Mentioned nobody.
Yep. Patrick O'Neill.
The movie, TV.
O'Brien. Master and
It
Commander.
was a little different, maybe a little more disgruntled than Conan is, but kind of keeping in the same vibe with First Blood. Maybe Travis Bickle from Taxi Driver.
Interesting.
Thin line. These could also be villains.
If we're going to include Heisenberg as a Conan character, I think Travis Bickle goes into that part of the Venn diagram.
Well, that was one of the things we talked about a little bit, was the fact that Conan is, and I was told not to use anti-hero, but a Byronic hero, in the fact that it's not that he's an anti-hero being someone that stumbles into being a hero. This one, he has no desire to be the hero. So in a lot of cases, there's some villains that could fit in the Conan archetype.
Depending on who's writing Conan, I think Conan at times has been an anti-villain. where he's actually been more directed by some heroic attitudes. But I think Conan's sort of, especially like youthful and before he's a king, wanderlusting and accidentally stumbling upon some sorcerer that he has to kill because he wants his stuff is a little bit different than sort of Conan the Liberator, as he's sort of later depicted.
Conan usually ends up with a heroic action while being a villain.
Yeah, I'd say his heroism is like a side effect of he's driving down his main course, and the heroism that happens wasn't intentional. It's just a side effect. Happy, circumstance.
It's a heroic action while being a villain.
Well,
Right.
But a lot of it follows in line with Conan's own personal code of honor.
Yeah, that's exactly where
He has his own code, and he'll follow it. I mean,
He's seeking revenge against Cult of Doom. Because Cult of Doom came through and killed his entire family and village.
Well, there's a series called The Northman, which, if you look at that plot line follows the Conan movie line. His family's killed. He goes off to avenge them. So
Lit's entire scene's been for Ben. John Milius should have sued somebody.
So when my son was in college, I'd send him all these care packages, and one time I sent him, was it Farewell My Lovely and The Big Sleep?
Yes.
And then I sent him the first, an omnibus of the first 4 Mike Hammer novels. I had him read them, and we were talking about it afterwards. I said, "What do you think?" He goes, "Yeah, they're they're very different." I said, "Okay, well, I've always thought that reading Chandler is like reading Mallory. It's like reading about King Arthur, but reading Mickey Spillane, reading Mike Hammer is Conan."
Oh,
cool.
okay.
So
Yeah.
that's another example there.
Does anybody have anybody that?
I have one.
Yeah.
I'm reading to a novel now. It's called Nuestra Parte de Noche, or Part of the Night, by Mariana Enriquez. It's a Spanish, Argentinian novel. I haven't gone too far in it, but the main character, he's like a medium. So he's already outside society, under the dictatorship in Argentina. He's mostly Catholic. They're like coming down on anything that's not Catholic. So they hide in the mountains in Argentina and the forests and all that.
Right.
He's a medium, so he talks to spirits and things like that. So he has that primal knowledge. He's that connection between the gods and man. And he's just driving around with his son to take him to some forest because his son, he sees the same powers he has. They're trying to, and he has like this personal freedom that he wants to push. Like they don't want to be controlled by the organization, the order, or the Argentinian government or anybody else. I haven't got it too far, so I don't know how
It also
far
sounds
he
like a
goes.
bit of the Wanderlust.
Sounds like it's in the same genre as Catherine Kurtz's Doreen's books, Camber of Called Books and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just started reading that one because I wanted some Spanish fantasy.
Yeah.
Because it's really hard to find.
Argentinian, huh?
And it's Argentinian, yeah.
So somebody mentioned before we got started Dungeon Crawler Carl. Is anybody reading the Dungeon Crawler Carl books?
I am.
Is anybody listening to the Dungeon Crawler Carl books? Is more of the point.
On my list.
Okay. Does anybody know what lit RPG is?
Yep.
Okay. Matt Denneman is sort of kind of the god king of that right now. Dungeon Crawler Carl stuff is exploding, and it's fantastic. I kind of don't want to even tell you what it's about, so you can just sort of experience it for yourself. But if you've ever played a role-playing game and done something really unusual at the table that worked, Dungeon Crawler Carl is for you. That's basically what the whole thing is. But it's brilliantly written, and even better as an audio book.
All right, we're going to do one more, then we're going on to the next topic. Yes, sir.
Kind of connecting to the lit RPG topic, I think part of the appeal of that genre is it taps into that same progression that was signature of Conan and Sword and Sorcery. Conan starts as a young man wandering the Southlands on various adventures as a mercenary, working his way up to becoming a king by his own hand, struggling to maintain a crown upon a troubled brow.
Yep.
You have a clear arc, and that's something that's reflected throughout the entire genre. Elric starts as a king and ends in a mercenary, fighting a desperate battle against chaos. Cain is cursed by God to live forever. All these characters have that, and I think lit RPG is trying to tap back into that because after years of epic fantasy, feeling very sane on that front, people like following a hero as they grow from or fail from one point to another.
As they level up per se.
Okay, I do admit that does bug me when they do that in lit RPG stuff.
All right. Well, feel free to take any of our possible Conan heroes with you to use as bookmarks throughout the day. All right. Now we're on to our third topic.
All right. Okay, so I have a house full of children and their spouses, and they communicate using TikTok, whether I want to do it or not. I have been instructed not to call it the TikToks during this, so we'll see how that goes.
Aww.
I know. But that got me thinking, can you draw in a younger audience using the TikTok algorithm? See, that's not the same.
No, you didn't. You were
That's a whole sentence.
The algorithm.
The algorithm. Can you give a 45 or so second pitch that would make a younger person want to go read a Conan story? Because that's about the attention span you've got is about a 45-second window to grab them before they just keep going down the list. And I'm not saying I have an answer for it. I just want to know everyone else's opinion. Does
it have to be Conan? Could it be Satyr Steve?
Yeah, it could be
a Howard character. How's that?
Go ahead.
A Howard character.
Robert E. Howard already did. Between the time the oceans drank Atlantis and the rise of the sons of Arius, there was an age undreamed of. Hither came Conan of sullen brow, destined to place that whole Hyborian Age introduction. That alone sells the entire Hyborian Age and Conan setting in under 30 seconds.
May I ask what generation you are?
Millennial.
Okay.
35 years old.
A millennial. So you're the readers into the TikTok generation. Do you think that's going to have the same appeal to an alpha or a Z?
I know it does because I'm raising one.
Oh, okay.
Literally the first thing I ever read to my son when he was still in my wife's arms in the hospital was The Tower of the Elephant.
Outstanding.
And I still read, like, that recent illustrated edition of The Tower of the Elephant is a little bulky for a toddler, but there's nothing in Tower of the Elephant that's
that you're
wrong
reading
for
to your children. Because most parents today do not read to their children.
I do every morning and every night.
But you are the exception.
You're the exception to the rule, not the. You're the exception that rules the rule.
But my son loves it. I think
which I think makes the point is that in the first place, I'm an old dog. I don't give a damn if these young people like to read what I like to read or not. But it's people like you that are trying to encourage. I'm a middle kid. I do believe that there are certain things about middle kids, but I don't like to generalize. I don't think it matters whether you're a millennial or Gen X or Gen Z or whatever. If this is for you, you're going to find it.
Yeah. No matter how hard.
But maybe
you read the will or you won't.
Let him
no
go
matter how
before he
hard it-
explodes.
Okay.
Mark's gonna die. Go ahead.
So there was back before Twitter was just a garbage cow. There was you could subscribe to a bunch of really fun things, but there was this great this great Twitter account called Bite Size Dracula, and what this guy did was every day, 2 or 3 times a day, he would post. He was going through the novel, in order, but condensing a passage down to the single tweet. And so it stupidly works. I mean, since most of the novel is epistolary and it was written for people with much higher educations, all you really have to do is sort of condense the formalities of the speech down into a sort of back then it was 144 characters, so it was like true Twitter. So basically a bumper sticker. But I have often wondered if, and I think other people tried to do it with other things and it didn't quite land like that did. But I've often wondered if it would be possible to take Howard's poetry and condense those pieces down into a quick video, just almost, you know, with a still image and a crawl and somebody reading the piece. I don't know. I say that as someone who is not on the TikToks and I would rather not be on the TikToks. I don't know if you guys have noticed that I sometimes have trouble like summing things up. But I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. Is that something that would fly or not?
I think you're onto something, Mark, because the most success, I have grandsons that have been trying to get involved and trying to get involved. If you look around the room, there's a lot of older people in here, and we need a lot younger blood, and how do we get that message out to the younger people? And I've tried to do that with my own grandchildren, and what I found the most that they will be receptive to appears to be like reels or short videos or sent to something on a YouTube channel. Thank you, whoever's doing the YouTube channels for Robert E. Howard and for Conan.
Excellent.
Man,
Yeah,
that's
that's great.
fantastic, because that's actually helping. But that is what I found as being the most receptive for my grandchildren in that to get involved in this. But when it comes to, I hand them a book or I hand them a comic or something like that, oh, okay, I'll get to that later. And they never do. When you tell them it's online, man, they're in a second.
Mm-hmm.
I'll bet you be like Marco. But to Steph's point, that we were talking about the TikToks, which is a visual medium more so than a written one. You know, you have the I don't know if it's automatic or not. I find it annoying either way. But that you have the text that come across the bottom, but it's all visual. So why not you know put on a kind of a pork pie hat and a cauliflower ear, have a dog beside you, you know. Hey, I'm Steve, and this is my dog Mike, and we just got off the ship. We're gonna go kick some ass, you know.
I know what we're doing later. We're gonna make some TikToks.
You know, something like
get
that.
to dress up.
I want to be Sailor Steve.
Let me call it first.
I'll be Mike.
Ben, where you're not entertained. Yes, sir.
I'm 25, and I'm also that in-between generation between millennials and Gen Z, and I can't really speak for Gen Alpha and all them, and I'm also a little bit out of my own territory, and I'm here, so I'm not sitting on back in Tennessee. But yeah, I think that there is the visual medium aspect of it is extremely important, and the way that the reels and what's most popular in reels is extremely snappy, fast, kind of crazy, skibbity toilet, goofy stuff. And so the only way that you're able to really appeal to them and grip them is not to go on there and just have someone sitting in a chair reading a book, because I mean Michael K. Vaughan would have gripped them all at this point if that was the case. But so what you probably need to do is take somebody and slap them in some Conan gear and have them do a backflip on the screen and slice some mannequin's head off and do some crazy whatever and do a 45-second live action Tower of the Elephant using some styrofoam props.
And that would work.
A Lego Tower of the Elephant.
And so I think, you know, some low budget $10 video of somebody that's taken a 5-minute jiu-jitsu class might actually have a better, you know, chance of marketing to that group as far as keeping their entertainment for 45 seconds. And then they can click on a little caption, and there, and in the caption section is Hither Came Conan, you know,
Well,
and then a
that's
link
it.
to Project Gutenberg.
Right, and getting them to, it's getting them in and then directing them to the other places. Because if it's interesting enough, they might go read the short story, or they might go read the poem, or they might go read that. So that's I think what we're talking about is we're not going to tell them the whole story in that 50.
As long as you can grab them,
right?
In that 45 or so seconds.
Is they do these like shortcuts of characters that are really popular, where they take certain scenes from them and like glamorize them and make it all like fast and fancy and whatever. Really popular right now is the new Resident Evil game. Leon being basically a Conan character. He's this outsider agent that goes and fights zombies. But so you take even like one of these glamour shot type videos and scenes from out of one of the movies, and you make it fast and snappy. Some of the best scenes out of the movie, and just kind of throw some filters on it and make it look kind of fun. Throw that on there and just roll something like that would probably spark more interest even than a full scene or something would, just because it's, well, I just almost got the whole movie in 45 seconds, you know. So then they might actually go and sit down and watch it.
Just visualizing like a TikTok of Conan, where we're like, hey chat, should I go into this tower? It looks lit, and then just that's what they summarize.
Don't
all
bring that evil into the world.
Yeah. Hey chat, I heard some spooky ghosts over here. Let's check it out. Yeah.
So,
Chad, they got jewels in this tower.
Yeah.
You're sitting so quietly. You gotta yell at us.
So I'm a middle school teacher. teenager. I'm around 12 to 14-year-olds all day.
Thank you for your service.
I think, like, it's easy to see, like, to think that kids are really different now because their exterior life is so different. Like, if you click on a Mr. Beast video, he is yelling instantaneously. But their interior lives have not changed. Like, all of us when we were 12, they still have the same struggles and such. And I found that they really crave quiet and depth. Like, I have a club at school called Antisocial Reading Club, where we literally for an hour after school we sit there and we read in silence, and it's hugely popular. And not just the nerdy, like, bookworm kids you would expect, because I think a lot of them don't ever get a moment where they are not being yelled at and ads and flashing stuff and 30-second videos on TikTok. And so I think there's still a lot of power if you create a quiet space for them in the real world and say, this is a book that means a lot to me. I think you're gonna love it. And so I'm like, the kids are alright. Yeah, you know, I was like,
You just gave my heart hope. I'm like,
a little bit, yeah.
They are
A little bit.
alright. They're so awesome. But they just look different.
Yes, sir.
Well, like, I'm feeling conflicted by the topic in some ways too, because like they're selling kids short in some ways, you know. Like as Dan said, don't read it. Like my son, who's 13, he loves going to school now, largely because I've read him to him. But I think Randy's right about the only way that the TikToks work is that flashy quick. Like my daughter, she's 14. She loves Nikki G from He-Man. Like, so she just loves the rough young guy and the flashy thing and the synopsis of the movie. And she's like, Dad, I want to go see He-Man because Dick's hot. Right? But so yeah, I don't think you have to sell it. It's different mediums.
But don't you also feel like we as old people
Nice.
need to
Real
learn
nice.
to communicate how they communicate?
I do, but I think that's where it feels conflicted because
Right.
it's just a medium. It's secondary. It's
Did the
not-
older people of your time learn to speak Tig Latin in order to talk to you guys?
Well, I am Gen X, and we are the first.
We are the first.
I don't know. I'm trying to
right there.
I'm trying not to use the F word. That was, and we adapted with the millennials. We learned. We had the first PCs. They were the entire size of this room, and we had that awful dial-up sound.
Screaming of the robot.
I remember when Sargon Chess hit the Commodore 64. We thought we were high on the hog. You have no idea.
It's interesting because the Gen X, he bore witness to soundbite news, and that changed all of reality.
Right.
Right? So we never saw full spectrum news coverage. We had 20 seconds, this is the headlines, and how is that warped us? And TikTok is not dissimilar, but it becomes entertainment value versus, transmission of information.
But if you've got kids that are used to being on devices and computers, we, as a society, can't take them off of it. That's going to be up to the parents to pull them off.
And it's a battle. It's
Right.
a battle.
But
I
if
have
you
a
hand-
9-year-old, and it's a battle.
If you
already.
hand a kid a book, I mean, in the high school where I worked, they did everything on a tablet. They had a class set of books. Those books never left the room. They only, when they were reading The Outsiders, they read at school. That book didn't go home with you. You never had book reports. So handing a kid now a book,
they're like, what am I supposed to do with this
yeah,
thing?
they're like, how do you turn it on? Whereas, if you can get them hooked on a device where they get that reel that says, okay, I don't know, I think there's an elephant and a tower. Where can I find that? Then they may go read it. So I think we
have to accept that is what the later generations are doing now. This is how they've grown up. This is what they want. This is what everybody else is doing. I mean, oh, well, so-and-so is doing this, why can't I? I mean, it's every generation, every kid does that no matter what.
If they had our own, I mean, my gateway into Robert E. Howard was the 82 movie. I had never even heard of him before I saw that
Which
movie.
still pops up on TikTok.
Exactly.
I did
And so
find
that led
the
me
movie.
into all the Howard that I've read. And so
That's
now
awesome.
these kids, they may
Right.
not watch that movie, but there's other little things.
Right, and I
that
think
will
however,
dovetail into them.
and however they're going to be brought in, they need to be brought in, and that's the point.
All right, we
So-
got 3 more minutes. You had your hand up.
I just have to disagree with the execution on that. Just at least one thing as a young parent, yes, a lot of parents have seen that addiction to screens in the teenagers. My son will not touch a cell phone until he's 16 years old. I don't
So you
know-
say no, but you
Come talk to us now.
Come tell me when you don't have a toddler. Yeah?
There's a term for you. It's called statistical outlier.
And I'm saying every other parent I know is trying that same battle.
Australia.
Well, it is. It's going to be, and it's
figuring
going
out
to.
how to keep that. 'Cause
But the
at least-
problem is, it needs to become societal, not just parent. I mean, a lot of the creators. What am I thinking? The tech parents, the guys who created it, they don't allow their kids on social media and stuff like that. So I commend you. I think
less a matter of like this isn't what kids want; it's what they're given.
Oh.
Like I work in publishing, and you know the statistical audience for a young adult book these days is a 37-year-old unmarried woman. Our books for children are not made for children.
Well, but I think you're also kind of proving the point there. We're not marketing to kids.
We're not trying is the issue.
Yeah.
Well,
They go to TikTok because TikTok at least pretends they want them. They go to YouTubers because they have a parasocial relationship with them. But if you give them something good, I mean, show of hands, how many of you picked up Conan for the first time for one of those paperbacks as a teenager?
Well,
I'm willing to bet a good chunk of you, 20-something kids. That stuff, you don't need to dumb down Robert E. Howard to be some cringe boomer attempt at YOLO swag, kids. Let me tell you about, no, that will just, because kids also hate inauthenticity.
I think this may be one of the topics we need to put in the parking lot because.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's great. We'll add this to later.
It would be one thing if it was The Great Gatsby. We've lost more young readers to F. Scott Fitzgerald than we did to both World Wars.
Adrian, you had your hand up?
Janice.
I'm going to bring a
6
little
minutes.
Conan-esque fatalism to this. And that, this is the tree of woe that you are sacrificing yourself on. I agree with my grizzled brother. I've been doing a thing, reading sci-fi fantasy magazines from like the 60s through the 90s. And in the late 70s, early 80s, they are advertising games, they're advertising Nintendos, they're advertising computer stuff, all this stuff aimed at the youth. By the time you get to the late 80s, that is gone. Because
they figured out the adults
the,
have the money.
The youth aren't reading this stuff. Your kids, the youth stopped reading in the 80s and the 90s. And that trend has only grown. And I'm sorry, I remember my life as a child, and I would look at my father and I would say, yeah, I really love that Conan stuff. I'm working my way through it. Thanks, Dad. And then I would fire up, if I was a kid now, I would fire up Skyrim and never look back. I mean, I'm sorry, but you're going to be hunting a very specific, narrow group if you're going after kids.
Skyrim, you're really old.
All right, we're getting close. We're getting close to the end. Y'all got we've got hot dogs waiting at the pavilion. So what I want to do is I want to we will all of us here, be at the pavilion tonight, maybe tomorrow night. So if y'all want to delve further into these discussions,
come pick a fight with us.
Yeah,
bring it up and come back. Yeah.
So, but also, if you have an idea to help us encourage more people to come to Howard Days, or to read Howard, or even do some creating, please share it, because we're always looking for new ideas. And I thank all of y'all for coming. Be sure and grab a map or a coloring page or a people's scavenger hunt. These are the prizes you can win with a scavenger hunt. And I think that's it. Thank you. Enjoy the weekend.
Not really a panel.